welcome to the Casual Wrestling Show, the #1 wrestling show meant specifically for casual wrestling fans. Each and every week, I, the Notorious Nerdy D, topple the biggest questions in pro wrestling alongside me, my wife, LevelUp Lauren.
What's up, y'all?
You can find the show every Wednesday on YouTube and on your favorite podcast network. If you enjoy the content we make sure to join our casual community Discord group. The link will be in the description of the video, and you can ask anybody in the comments section that it is a cool, chill place to hang out, talk wrestling, as well as a bunch of other fun topics. Let's jump right into it this week, Lauren. Let's talk some wrestling. So this week, I thought I had some things. There's just been some looming things I wanted to talk about. Just different wrestling topics that I want to talk about. So I think I'll kind of take them head on this week, and we can talk about it. The first thing I want to talk about, and this has been going around. I've seen it a lot on social media. I've seen it discussed inside of our Discord. I've seen people talking about Omos. Mm-hmm. What do you do with Omos? How do you move forward with Omos? Because if we look back at the last two premium live events, Omos took on Brock Lesnar in kind of an underwhelming WrestleMania match. Mm-hmm. And then he had what I would call a pretty good match against Seth Rollins. Mm-hmm. But there's, here's the problem with Omos to me. This is the problem that I run into when I start. I stop joking around and stop talking shit, and I try to be objective and look at Omos. This is what I run into. What is the actual upside to Omos? So, you know what I mean? If you're to look at the next 5 years and start laying out the landscape of WWE, because I kind of look at it in 5-year segments, right? Anything can happen. 5 years from now, there's a lot of guys who are wrestling right now that won't be wrestling anymore. So let's look at it objectively for 5 years. Is Omos a world champion? In 5 years, in the next 5 years. No. He's not, right? I don't foresee any path that leads him to a world championship in the next 5 years. So I have to do what I do best, and that is kind of compartmentalize things and look at things the way I see. This is kind of how I shape out what I think is going to happen in the next 5 years. I kind of see talent in 3 different pools on the main roster. On the main roster, I have the talent that I consider they're already main event guys, right? And so when you look at world championship titles, which is now going to be the undisputed title and the world heavyweight championship, there's a list, there's a line of guys who are already in WWE right now that are just going to be waiting their turn to grab that belt. Guys like Kevin Owens, Cody Rhodes, Bobby Lashley. If Drew McIntyre stays, he's probably in that line. Roman Reigns, who's already a champion, right? Mm-hmm. Those are guys that are already on the roster that we know in the next 5 years are probably in line to get title shots. Yeah. So then after that group of people, I think you take a step down and you go, there's a group of guys that are knocking on the door. They're the ones you constantly hear about from WWE where they say, this guy's about to get a big push. This guy, he's got a bright future ahead of him. And I think those guys to me right now are your LA Knights. Even though they're not doing it, we constantly hear the rumors of LA Knights going to have, a big summer. He's possible going to win Money in the Bank, right? Gunther seems to be a guy who, if he's not already walked through the door, he's opened the door is open, he's just got to take a step through it, right? Yeah. I think Theory I could put on in that position. Yeah. I think Theory has elevated him to a point where he will be in the world heavyweight conversation in the next 5 years.
And he's still really young.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's already done the mid-card thing. Yeah. We got to assume his United States title run is coming to an end. And then from there, they have to elevate him into that probably world heavyweight championship picture. So sooner rather than later, for someone like Theory, he becomes a world champion. Mm-hmm. I think, people are going to be mad about this, but Finn Balor, I think, is a guy who has flirted with being in that top tier list. Mm-hmm. But I think every so often, whether it's injury or just circumstance, he kind of falls back outside of that door and he has to, re-knock and be like, hey guys, I'm here. Yeah. And so I think he's a guy. But so you start to see this list of names add up, right? Of guys who are probably in line to get world heavyweight champion shots. Then I have a third group of people, which I think is what I call like the NXT group. Mm-hmm. And that's the guys who are you can see them in the distance. You can see what WWE's doing with them, but they're not, there's no for sure path. But guys like Braun Breaker, Grayson Waller, Solo Sikoa, right? Solo's farther along, but I still consider him one of those NXT guys.
Yeah.
So you look at those 3 lists, right? And you start putting the names together, and you could quickly get to 15, 20 names that respectively could have a world championship run in the next 5 years. Then that's not counting guys like Randy Orton, who could show back up at any time, right?
That's true.
That's not, where does Riddle fall? Riddle probably falls on the list of guys knocking at the door, right? So you could continue to add to these lists and get easily to 25 people who sit on that list. So then you have to ask yourself, where do you put Omos? Where does he fall? Because here's the problem. A guy of his size, a guy of his stature, can he really be United States champion? Like, is that really plausible at this point? Especially after they've kind of presented him against Brock Lesnar, against Seth Rollins. Can he take a step back and go after the Intercontinental Championship? Or is it World Championship or bust for Omos? Now, here's one thing I wanted to look at, I want to talk to you about was an interesting thing that I think gets overlooked when you talk about Omos. Mm-hmm. He looks like he's 40 years old.
Yeah.
He's only 28 years old.
Is he really?
Yes. So that when I say that out loud, when I put that down on my notes here, he's extremely young.
Yeah.
And I this is where the problem comes, that I start to blame Vince McMahon and Triple H. Mm-hmm. They've thrown him into a position. They fed him to the wolves.
Yeah.
And told a 28-year-old young man who really doesn't have a lot of wrestling experience. They go, you're going to fight Brock Lesnar. You're going to fight Seth Rollins. People are going to judge you against that level of talent, when the honest truth is that may not be fair.
No, I mean, honestly, just knowing his age alone kind of sways my view on him a little bit.
I don't want to say
I did think he was like 40.
Yeah, I don't want to say sympathy, because sympathy sounds bad, right? It sounds like I feel sorry for him.
Understanding.
But there's an understanding of like, oh, this guy's got a long, look at guys wrestling into their 50s.
They have a lot of experience on him. Of course they're going to be better.
So you throw him in the ring with Brock Lesnar. You throw him in the ring with Bobby Lashley. Of course he doesn't look as good as them. He's 28 years old. This is all still very new to him. Just for comparison, I put together a list of guys who some, I don't want to say, it's not an IWC thing. I think it's a wrestling fan thing in general, of guys like we get excited for. Grayson Waller, right? Mm-hmm. NXT guy, kind of feels fresh. We get excited. He's 33 years old.
Yeah.
So he's just coming up from NXT. He's 33 years old. And I, in my mind, go, oh, he's younger than Omos. Because he's new, right? He's the new shiny thing. Mm-hmm. LA Knight, 40 years old.
Yeah.
And so I'm drawing comparisons between the two, but that's 12 years difference? Is that correct? Is my math right? 20, 30, 40, between LA Knight and Omos. It's 12 years difference. Mm-hmm. You can't, it's not fair to judge what Omos will be in 12 years if he really pursues wrestling.
Your mentality from like your 20s to your 40s, way different.
But I don't think Omos has a mentality problem. I don't think that Omos isn't out there trying. I don't think he's somebody who disrespects wrestling by any means.
But like,
I think he's a guy, and now that I speak out loud that he's 28 years old, he's not ready. Right? He needs more work. Solo Sikoa's 30.
Yeah.
That's 2 years difference.
So should they have started him off like in NXT?
So next thing I've got here is, what was the rush to put him on the main roster and start the process of shoving him down our throats and trying to make us believe that he's ready to go with Brock Lesnar and Seth Rollins? Could Omos not really, and this isn't the old that guy needs to be moved down. But could Omos not really benefit from time in NXT where he could be the guy? He could speak on a microphone just openly where he's not judged against, Brock Lesnar and Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, where he's judged against people of his same caliber.
He gets to learn.
There's a problem with it. They keep putting him in these high-profile matches, and he keeps losing. And I know in WWE they have this mentality of guys can lose forever and it doesn't matter, but it does begin to sour on people, right? You begin to go, this guy's the Nigerian giant. He's 7 foot. He's supposed to be big and scary, but he's lost to Bobby Lashley. He's lost to Seth Rollins. You know, he's lost to Brock Lesnar. He's starting to pick up the who's who of losses when he could go to NXT and just learn how to destroy everybody. Learn to work a style of wrestling that works against different opponents. Because one thing that I think I've noticed, Omos works better against smaller, faster opponents. His size does come into play. So I see people call for, well, let's get Omos and Gunther in the ring. No, I think that's going to make for the worst possible matchup for Omos, right?
Yeah.
Whereas you put Omos and Seth Rollins in the ring.
That was actually a pretty good match.
It ended up being good because Seth Rollins understands how to make Omos look like what they want Omos to look like. Brock Lesnar can't do that.
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar can't nor does Brock Lesnar really ever want to let people look like
larger than him.
Larger and just more physical and stronger. It doesn't happen that way. So I don't know why. And I don't mean this in a demoting kind of way, but it just feels like if there was a prime candidate to move down and actually let him, I think his popularity would grow back in NXT. Now, I just think, like, as you're fleshing out this giant character, that's a great place to develop your ring style, to develop your ability to talk on a microphone. Because I think one thing Omos is going to have to do is he's going to have to transcend just being big. Right? At some point, they're going to have to stop trying to wow us with, like...
He's going to have a personality.
They're going to have to get him past the circus effect, right? Come see the big giant. That's what they're trying to do to us. But the reality is, at some point, Omos has to become more than just tall.
So I have a random question. Okay. Really random. You had talked about earlier, like, what were they thinking? Now, when Omos first came in to WWE, right?
Yes. Now, I can tell you, I was not watching closely as Omos first came in. So if it's a question about that.
Who were the other big guys then? Was... what's his name? The monster. I can't think of his name right now.
Braun?
Yeah. Was he gone at that time already?
I don't think so. I think Braun may have been around. But so here's one thing I want you to take in consideration.
Okay.
Omos is considerably bigger than Braun Strowman.
Yeah.
Like in height.
I mean, he's huge.
Yeah.
But like, who were the other big guys? Did they just need another big guy? So they said, hey, you're big. Come on, let's go. So
do you need a big guy? That I guess that's the better question. Is there an obligation on the roster? Because I think then you're explaining to me exactly why this is happening.
I think that you
I disagree. I don't think you need a big guy.
I think they like to have a big guy. I mean, when have they not ever just had like one guy who's big? Andre the Giant was super big, right?
Big Show was big. I get what you're saying. Kane and Undertaker were bigger. But no, I get what you're saying. But I think I disagree with that mentality of we just need a big guy for big guy's sake. Because this is what you get. This is exactly what you get.
That's when what I'm asking. Like, was that what they were thinking? Maybe like
probably. I mean, probably yes. I think that they see spectacle, right? They have the circus mentality. Everybody come see the 7-foot man who's quite athletic for being 7 foot and can move around. Come see him, but that works so much better when that 7-foot guy is also polished in the ring and has a little bit of personality, right?
Yeah.
The Big Show had kind of an it factor, right? A personality behind. He wasn't just big. He was loud. He was he could talk. There were more facets to who the Big Show was, and it really made for like an interesting character. Now, once again, at 28 years old, I wasn't watching Big Show when he was Paul White. Maybe maybe I'm just jumping the gun on Omos. Maybe at 28 years old, I've got to back off and go, he's got a lot of time. And I don't like the time argument with like guys like Theory or Dominic Mysterio, because those guys, when you're that size, you have to be good at what you do.
Yeah.
Because there's 5,000 other guys that are your size that could take your spot. When you're 7 foot tall, kind of what you're saying, they need a tall guy. It's not like they can just go find another 7 foot athlete, right? So he is one of one, and there is kind of this idea that we'll bring him along, but I thought that's what NXT was for. And so they've got to get Omos to the point, because I don't think Omos's spot is probably never like the guy.
Yeah.
But I think if they could get Omos far enough along, he could be the
destroyer.
The Lex Luthor, the Joker. He could be a amazing bad guy to a baby face in a long-term story. Someone like Cody Rhodes, right? Just like a literal mountain that Cody Rhodes has to climb to get to that title. Now, I don't think the time frames don't match up, so Cody Rhodes is a really bad example, but maybe someone like Theory, right? Who later on, if he turned babyface, Omos makes a good counter to that position.
Okay.
Now, speaking of Theory, I want to talk about Theory. And this is another topic that has kind of been sitting on the back burner, that I see it get brought up in the Discord. I see it get brought up on the internet. And I remember there were people that the IWC was so fucking passionate about this when it first happened. And me and you, we were on the other side of this thing. I think when history plays out, we were on the right side of this thing. But I want to talk to you a little bit about, like, looking back at the character change that Triple H did for Austin Theory, and was that an effective change, right? If we look back, we're talking about the cell phone gimmick, right? The kind of douchebag Austin Theory who would come out, would fight you, take the pictures of himself. He was Vince McMahon's like right hand guy, and this is my observation. Because you still get people who go, oh no, this Austin Theory is great. And I'm like, I don't see it. He's turned into generic white wrestler number 32, right? If you just start, like, he looks like Grayson Waller. He wrestles like this guy. There's nothing really extraordinary about Theory. And when he had the cell phone gimmick, when he had the Vince McMahon's chosen one gimmick, it was a crutch. But it was a crutch that was well needed for a guy.
It was a douche that I liked.
It was a gimmick. And in a time where wrestling is suffering from guys with like distinguishable gimmicks, he had a gimmick that we could identify. People that we would bring over to watch wrestling were like, I like cell phone guy. They didn't even know his name, but they could identify. I like this guy. He's a douchebag. He's an asshole. He pisses the crowd off. I can remember probably about a year ago going to SmackDown in Austin and the show closing with Theory, and the crowd just fucking hated him. He had almost the same level of heat that Dominic Mysterio is getting right now, but I think Theory had earned his through being the douchebag. And it was personality. And I think the biggest problem, this is where I go back and I talk about, I kind of incorporate the bloodline and incorporate Roman Reigns. For everything great Roman Reigns does, and for all of the prestige and the records he's setting, I do believe that Roman Reigns has affected the world of WWE around him in a negative way.
How so? Well,
so Theory won Money in the Bank, right? And in a time where, like, even then we were kind of iffy on, is Roman going to drop the title? That briefcase was a curse, because basically 99% of wrestling fans knew there's zero chance that Theory cashes in this title against Roman Reigns. So he carried around a briefcase that basically burdened him to have to keep coming out and getting beat up. And they couldn't run, so they fucked up by giving him Money in the Bank. I do think, and I do, that's the Roman Reigns curse, because I think if anybody else is champion, I talked about this at the time when they started throwing around hints of like, hey, Theory could be the youngest world champion ever. I think there was conversations in writing rooms about, can we put the title on Theory? Can we give him a title run?
What's his name left, right?
It's what? You're whispering.
Isn't that right? When Vince left is when we were going to do it?
Like, I think that's when it was happening. And I think ultimately that the decision that was placed in front of them was, do we let Roman Reigns go on this epic title run that goes on, for another year and a half? Or do we make the switch? And I think ultimately they decided, hey, Roman Reigns is the better choice here. But I think if that is anybody else in that point in time, if it's Big E, that's champion. If it's Brock Lesnar that's champion and they're not on a historic title run, Theory wins the title right there. They never change his character, and he becomes a fabulous heel champion that's taking pictures with the belt and doing this thing. And I think this was an overreaction to like, all right, he kind of got humiliated with the Money in the Bank belt. We're going to have to take away some of that fluff and bullshit and make him come back like, you know, like a little harder, like a little tougher of a guy. But my question is, since that time, since they made the switch, since it was the I dropped the I'm serious Theory now, has he gained any relevance within the WWE universe?
No.
He's lost stock, right? Like he's more...
I actually like him, but not because he was kind of douchey. I just don't like him because he's boring to me now.
He's forgettable at this point. And I don't mean like he's generic white wrestler 32. No, I mean that because you start looking at the roster, there's a lot of guys who kind of look like him, who kind of wrestle like him.
Yeah.
He doesn't stand out anymore from the crowd. Look at his last premium live event appearances, right? He won an he won an elimination chamber match against 5 other guys. You remember who they were?
No,
because the match there wasn't that lasting effect. I didn't even remember that he won it. It was like Bronson Reed. That's about like I don't remember who it was. Montez Ford was in the match, and it was for the United States Championship. But it's just Theory's become so forgettable and so unremarkable that it's just kind of, oh, okay, he won, right? WrestleMania. Any match that has John Cena in it should go down and be talked about as a match that was a big deal, but nobody's talking or even like that should have been an epic moment of John Cena trying to win the United States Championship, a title that he had a significant history with, and instead it started the show, and most people's opinion of that match was, all right, cool. They wrestled. Cena had a bald spot. Like,
I noticed the bald spot right away.
But you didn't. That was a moment for Theory to come out and kind of show, like it was a put up or shut up moment, right? Let your wrestling skills speak for yourself. And once again, they took away all of the personality, all of the character, and guess what they did? They had him win in a cheesy heel manner, which would have played perfectly into the other character,
if he took
right?
the picture while he was doing it, would be amazing.
What a great moment coming out of WrestleMania. If he has a selfie of him beating John Cena in the middle of the ring, that's it, man. That's all that gets talked about after WrestleMania. Instead, generic white wrestler number 32 picks up a victory against John Cena and nobody fucking talks about it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the question that I'm asking to anybody listening is, is it safe to say, is it fair now? I get it. You guys a ton of these people overreacted early on and told me I was fucking crazy, right? They were all mad. Well, it was like me, you, I think DJ Wavy D was someone who was on board with us. There was a couple people, I don't remember, it may not have been DJ, but I'll just throw him into the conversation. But there was a couple people who agreed, but a lot of people were like, no, just give us some time. This new tough Austin Theory is going to really prove himself.
Yeah.
But is it fair to say at this point, Triple H just overreacted?
I think so.
And now, like,
100%.
But how easy would it be just to walk it back?
Just fucking give him the cell phone back.
How easy would it be for Theory to come out and go, all right, I tried it this bullshit way. That's not me. Who I am is a cocky motherfucker. I got my cell phone. I'm back on social media. You know how he talks to da-da-da-da-da.
Yes. That's why he was the funnest.
Yes. It's either that or they're going to have to turn him babyface. He's going to have to be a good guy. But this like tough guy, no gimmick heel, it's not going to work. And if he remains this same character, I do believe that like 100% he just falls into the sea of white wrestlers, like of just generic white wrestlers. And I don't mean that like I say that because he's just
another crayon in the box at that point.
There's like he looks like so many other people. And so he just blends in to a roster where he stood out so much at one point. All right, let's talk about another thing I want to talk about was some of the stuff that happened on Monday Night Raw this week. I thought we'd talk about the World Heavyweight Championship title tournament. One thing I found interesting was this is the WWE problem, and it seems to extend even to Triple H, right? We come out, draft, and we make it very clear. We have to go on record that the World Heavyweight Championship is going to be on the brand of the brand that doesn't draft Roman Reigns. That's where that title belongs, and it belongs to that brand. Mm-hmm. So then now we get a tournament, and we invite 6 guys from the other show to an opportunity to win that title.
Yeah.
So why SmackDown stars? Like, what if you're really doing this, and this is the Raw title? It should have been all Monday Night Raw guys competing for that title. Mm-hmm. But instead, we've got 6 guys. Now, on Monday Night Raw, we ended up with Seth Rollins and Finn Balor main eventing the night for a chance to go on to Night of Champions and fight for the World Heavyweight Championship. Of course, spoiler alert, Seth Rollins won the match, making Finn Balor, in my book, the number 1 superstar at almost getting it done. Right? It's like Finn Balor gets so close to these things. And he was like the first Universal Champion, and then he got hurt. It just feels like it's not in the cards for Finn Balor to just get over that hump. Like I said, open that door, walk through, and be like, I'm a main event player, and I can sustain main event availability. It just doesn't feel like. But I had something I want to talk to you about, and that was a missed opportunity. Okay. That I really feel like one of the worst missed opportunities I've ever seen in pro wrestling. And it's the Judgment Day. It's imagine this. Walk back with me just a little bit here, okay? Walk back with me and let's talk about going into Night of Champions. What if Rhea Ripley was world champion? She is. That works. That happened. Good job, Triple H. Now, what if Dominic Mysterio had beaten Rey Mysterio? Imagine the amount of heat and kind of swag that Dominic could bring going forward and kind of, solidifying his space within the Judgment Day. Okay? What if Damian Priest had beat Bad Bunny and left Puerto Rico the most hated Puerto Rican in the world? They'd have thrown shit at him. It would have been nuts.
Crazy.
Right?
Hell yeah.
What if Finn Balor won the World Heavyweight Championship? You're talking about a faction that probably could have been on the level of like the old NWO, because right now the optics would stand Rhea Ripley holding a belt, Finn Balor holding a belt, Bad Bunny having beaten the pride of Puerto Rico, and Dominic Mysterio having beaten up his dad. All 4 of them would have had extremely great stories to tell. Instead, it looks like Dominic and Rey are done.
Yeah.
What a waste of a story, right? I get why Bad Bunny beat Damian Priest. I understand that. I'm just saying, what if? What if? Cool. How crazy would it have been had Damian beaten Bad Bunny? Especially if you look at the 4 of them coming out week after week and saying, we said we run Monday Night Raw, and I don't think you guys were listening. We run Monday. It just feels like a huge missed opportunity on WWE's part for things that, like, I get Bad Bunny winning. There's publicity. TMZ talks about it the next day. But what if Bad Bunny lost and the Puerto Ricans threw shit? Like, that's like, and it like goes crazy and people are fucking mad. That's even more publicity. And Damian Priest can spin that in a way of like, I am the bad guy. I feel like it was so missed. It would have been
fucking crazy if that happened.
Okay, I don't know. Did you watch Raw? I don't remember.
Yeah, we watched it together.
Okay. Well, I think you watched the back half of it with me, right?
I think we watched it.
No, because we watched it at Whataburger. And I had
yes, I did.
I picked you up from Mark, and you had already watched. I had already watched.
Yes, that's what it was.
So at the beginning, Brock Lesnar attacked Cody Rhodes, which is like what I think everybody knew was going to happen. We all saw it was the way to keep Cody Rhodes' story going on and not force him into a world championship match too early. I like it. I'm all good with this. I think this is the best way to keep Cody's story interesting, is to force him into like adversity after adversity after adversity. And I think like at this point, we've kind of made it around the turn of we're almost halfway through the year. Let's run this thing till WrestleMania. I think Cody should win a world championship at WrestleMania in Philadelphia. That makes sense. So then we got to ask the question, who wins the SmackDown tournament? We've got AJ Styles, Edge, Rey Mysterio. Then we got Theory, Lashley, and Sheamus. I feel like it makes sense for either AJ Styles or Edge to win that first match.
Okay.
I'm going to go Edge.
Why?
Well, because I think there's part of me that believes Edge is still a contender for that World Heavyweight title. That they could move him back to Raw. He could float back and forth. Just doesn't feel right. I don't know. I'm going to go Edge, though. Theory, Lashley, and Sheamus. I think Lashley wins that match. I think it's probably Lashley and Edge. I think Edge wins and probably... I don't know. Does it matter? I guess the bigger question is, does it matter? We know Seth Rollins is winning, right?
I mean, I hope so.
Well, because Triple H explicitly told us this title has to stay on Monday Night Raw. So why?
Unless they're going to move somebody over.
But then why draft them to SmackDown? Like that, it's all so convoluted and fucked up.
I mean, they also said there's free agents though, so I mean, they could at the last minute be like, "Oh, by the way, we can now make trades."
The only ones that are free agents are Omos, Brock Lesnar. There's a couple other guys, but nobody in this match. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they could just say whoever wins this goes to Raw.
A new rule would happen.
But doesn't that just kind of defeat the purpose of having the draft?
Yeah,
I guess. So I'm getting like, does this matter? Or is this just a way? I mean, I think I read this was a way just to, we're all going to tune into SmackDown to see who wins. But I really ultimately don't think it matters. Yeah. Last thing about Monday Night Raw, Lauren, The Way is back. We've been asking for this. This is Johnny Gargano, Candice LeRae.
Yes.
Dexter Lumis, Indy Hartwell. And they made mention to somebody coming back. I can only assume they're talking about Tommaso Ciampa. Mm-hmm. How cool would it be, though? You talk about Theory needing an injection. It would be cool if Theory came back to The Way and kind of was, Gargano can play leader, but I think Theory could be the guy who goes out and gets things done. I think it could work. I think especially if they laid into a lot of those like backstage moments that they did in NXT, The Way can be successful.
I only got in towards the end of it when they were having the wedding and stuff. I thought it was one of the coolest things ever.
But there was a whole build up to that, and the story works. And I think, to me, I never understand why like someone has to, you'd spend all this time building up a gimmick in NXT, and then they come to main roster and we have to pretend like that story didn't exist. Mm-hmm. But they keep their name. And there's a little bit of like insinuation that we're supposed to know who they are. And I've argued the other way on this point as well, of like, casual fans don't watch NXT, so what does it matter? But what does it not matter? Like, what does it hurt to go back to The Way? If you've never seen them before, cool. You're in for some funny shit and some good stories. Yeah. If you do know who they are, great. Then you understand the story they're about to tell. But I think that The Way can be successful. I think that Indy Hartwell, I think she will do well on the Monday Night Raw roster. I think if Ciampa comes back and joins The Way, I just think like it works. It works from like even like an NXT kind of invasion kind of storyline. Yeah. If they wanted to run with that, it would work.
All right.
All right. So here's something I want to talk about.
Okay.
And this kind of came about after watching Monday Night Raw. Mm-hmm. Austin Theory fought. Who did Austin Theory fight? Why am I drawing a blank?
On Raw?
Yeah.
I can look for you right now.
Who did he fight? Why am I drawing a blank? It was something significant. It wasn't Theory, because Theory's SmackDown now.
You just said Austin Theory fought who?
I'm back up. Xavier Woods is who I'm trying to talk about.
Oh, Xavier Woods.
Who did Xavier Woods fight?
He was in a fight with somebody, and I was like, oh man, he looks good. Was it? No. I guess I can look real quick.
Look it up. Go ahead, look it up.
Okay.
Where I'm going here is, as we get around to this, is I'm trying to figure out what is the ceiling for Xavier Woods. Because he's a guy, he's one of my favorite wrestlers. And so I want to talk about, I don't know, at this point in his career, where can
Bobby
he go?
Bobby Lashley? Was it Bobby? No, that was June 2021.
No, you're way off. It doesn't matter. It was a significant match in that, like, I knew he wasn't going to win. But when I talk about Xavier Woods, there's certain things, the questions I have. He has the right look for pro wrestling. He's built up the correct amount of size to be credible in pro wrestling. He has all of the fucking charisma in the world. So he isn't lacking in any area of the talent department. And that
AJ Styles. Wait, no.
Lauren, you just...
I'm the world's worst researcher.
Can you? What website are you on?
I'm on WWE.com.
Well, there should just be a rundown of the last Monday Night Raw. If you're having to scroll down, then you're going like weeks back. I don't know.
Come back
it doesn't matter. What this got me to thinking was I wanted to start a new kind of segment on the show. Do you remember the video game NBA Jam?
Yes.
So in NBA Jam, so like in NBA 2K, you have like 60 different statistics. It's for hardcore basketball guys, right? In NBA Jam, they gave you 4 categories to choose from. It was like blocks, steals, dunks, and something else, right? Uh-huh. So I wanted to, as a casual wrestling fan, I want to start taking wrestlers and breaking them down to what I think are the 4 real important things that matter to casual wrestling fans, and doing like an NBA Jam style rating system for professional wrestlers in the WWE. And I wanted to start with Xavier Woods because I think it's interesting. I don't know where the flaw is in Xavier Woods that creates this false ceiling over the top of him that he can't seem to break through. Now, when I'm talking about professional wrestlers, from a casual point of view, I think that size/strength is the first of attributes that matter.
Okay.
I think then you go to speed/athleticism. And I do the slash because sometimes a guy like Omos, of course, is not going to score as high in speed, but maybe better in athleticism. Technical skill would be the third. And then charisma, like crowd appeal, would be the fourth. Okay?
Okay.
So then let's take Xavier Woods, for example. Let's go size/strength. This is the one that I played with in my head, but I think he's a 6. He's above average. He's on the shorter end of height spectrum. Okay. But you said it the other day. He has incredibly bulked up. He's in superb physical condition, and because of that, he is a 6. He can kind of get out of the little man's category just based on sheer like athletic size.
Yeah.
Speed/athleticism.
I think he's pretty fucking athletic.
So he's extremely athletic. He's not as fast, I think, as I would like him to be, but I don't think that's by like athleticism. I think that's by design. I think he's just a little more meticulous in the ring than some other guys. I have him at a 7.
Okay.
Speed and athleticism, because you got to leave some headroom for guys like if you put him next to Ricochet.
Yeah, there's no comparison.
Yeah, like or Rey Mysterio.
10.
Yeah, so you when you do this, you have to be objective to think of like the whole picture of the whole roster and leave the room for them, right? He can't be like an 8 in size because
I would be the judge that makes everybody really good in the beginning, and then towards the end I get hypercritical.
No, exactly. So speed, athleticism, 7. Technical skills, I have him at an 8 because I don't know that there's anything Xavier Woods can't do well. He's pretty good submission style. He's good off the top ropes. He's good brawling. He's good. Like, he is kind of a student of the game. So technically in the ring, I don't think of him as the most technical guy, but I definitely think that there's no matchup style that doesn't suit him because he is a very intelligent wrestler who can adapt to anything in the ring. So that's 8 there. Then charisma, that's a 10.
Yeah.
I mean, he's off the fucking charts. Everybody in the New Day, well, wouldn't say everybody. I think Kofi falls maybe 8 or 9. I don't think his charisma is quite, but I'd say Xavier and Big E is a 10, 100%. So you look at that and you go 6, 7, 8, 10. The way NBA Jam worked was if you were under a 5, that was considered red. From 5 to 7 was considered white, like skill level, and then blue was 8, 9, 10. So he's got 2 blue categories and 2 white categories. That's solid for a guy who's never really been legitimately looked at as a singles wrestler.
Yeah.
So where are the flaws? Somebody's going to have to point out to me what, other than just like them putting a fucking glass ceiling over his head, what are the flaws? So in comparison, first week, I want to do one more wrestler.
Okay.
Omos.
Okay.
Because we talked about Omos. We were speaking about 28 years old, potential versus like what is potential. Let's talk about size and strength for Omos. I think you give him a 10, right?
Yes.
I mean, he's just, size is his thing. 7 foot. He's fairly strong. 10, right?
Yes.
Speed, athleticism, I give him a 4.
I was gonna say, yeah.
And I think that's generous. He moves well for being 7 foot.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think you go lower than that. Technical skills, he's a 2. Well, and that's not meant to be, but this is where I talk about going to NXT.
Yes, he needs the experience to get better.
He doesn't have wrestling skills. He just slaps and chops.
Like when they used to just give him all those random like opponents.
Well, that was to try and build up a mentality.
But it didn't do that for me.
It becomes comical if you do it for too long. That's the problem. If you do it 1 or 2 times, it works. It's effective. Yeah. But when you go from wrestling Bobby Lashley to generic local guy number 3, it doesn't work. It's a step backwards, right? And then charisma, I have him down at a 3. Like he can yell pretty good. He can seemingly come off like a little bit scary and aggressive, but he's not. He can't talk his way into it. That's why MVP is with him.
They did fix his teeth, right?
I don't know. You keep saying that.
It's gonna bother me, and I know in my head like they did. Somebody knows.
But if you look at that, size, strength, Xavier 6. Omos 10, that's fine. Speed, athleticism, Xavier wins 7-4. Technical skill 8-2, and charisma 10-3. And so the question is, why can't Xavier break through that glass ceiling? What is it about, and I think it boils down to the thing that every IWC member fucking hates when I say size matters. It fucking matters in pro wrestling. That size trumps everything else. Xavier Woods should be the prime example. There's no flaw in Xavier Woods' resume, yet he just might be too small. That's it. That's the only thing you can say about him. Whereas Omos, you can go down and check all of these boxes or you can uncheck all of these boxes in his resume, but you go, but he's so fucking big. He's so big. So the question is, what does Xavier Woods' legacy look like at the end of his career? Because he's getting up there in age. He's an older guy. And so what does it look like? He stated his ultimate goal was to win a mid-card title, United States Intercontinental. And then his big dream is, of course, to then go on and win a major title.
Yeah.
I don't know the path that gets him there because he gets over with the crowd. He got over when he was King of the Ring. Like, it seems like they flirted with the idea, but they never quite just pull the fucking trigger on him. He's 100% a Hall of Famer.
Definitely.
Just based on...
People love him.
Well, just based on New Day, right? Like, New Day is going to be remembered ultimately as a top 3 tag team of all time.
Yes, sir.
As far as, like, entertainment and Biggie, Kofi Kingston, and Xavier Woods, when they are all together, there is nobody more entertaining than them. So he's 100% a lock for the Hall of Fame. So the question is, what does the legacy look like? Is there a singles run, or does someone like Xavier have to resign himself? I say it like it's a negative, right? He's got to resign himself to being possibly one of the greatest tag team wrestlers of all time. But is there a point where Xavier's got to look in a mirror and go like, fuck Kofi, Big E, y'all got to get healthy so we can continue doing what we do best?
Yeah.
Last thing I want to talk about is I looking at Monday Night Raw, I feel like the women's division, Rhea Ripley challenged or came out and Dana Brooke challenged her. She fought Dana Brooke, beat the shit out of Dana Brooke. Then after that, Natalya came out and stood square with her. And it looks like more than likely we're getting Rhea Ripley versus Natalya at some point in time. I don't know if it's Night of Champions. I don't know where we're getting it, but it looks like that's what we're getting. And I was in the Discord when this was happening and we all had the same fucking reaction. It was like, God, no, please no. It was the Michael Scott fucking meme though. No. That's... And then someone brought up to my attention, they were like, who else is there? Okay. Like what? But so the question I have written down here, I think Monday Night Raw's women's division has a roster problem. I pulled up and the roster size is substantial here, but I pulled it up and it's not wrong. You have Becky Lynch. Of course, she's tied up in a story with Trish Stratus.
Yeah. You
have Candice LeRae. I think that's actually a viable opponent, but I think they're going to have to do a better job of making her look credible. But I do think in Rhea Ripley's future, Candice LeRae, possible choice. Okay. Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville, they look like the best or the most entertaining women's tag team in the whole division.
Yeah.
So I think they continue to work together. It's great. It's funny. It works. Dana Brooke, just
maybe when she was bodybuilding.
It's the problem is there's no credibility. For so long, they told the story that she was only worthy of fighting for the 24/7 championship, that now they can't dig out of that hole and make people change their opinion.
Yeah.
You have Emma, who you brought back and then got smashed a few times on SmackDown and then wasn't seen ever again. Mm-hmm. You have Indy Hartwell, who is the future of that division, but injured and I think
not ready right now. Maybe
I think needs time. You have Katana and Kaden, which is tag team. They're not going to be in that picture. Liv and Raquel, tag team. They're not going to be in that picture. You have Natalya, which is seemingly where they're going, which is Natalya is the break glass in case of emergency for the women's division of we need somebody who can go in and wrestle. And that's Natty, right? Yeah. Nikki Cross, I don't think she's credible enough. Piper Niven, Doudrop, I don't think she's credible enough at this point.
Yeah.
Ronda and Shayna are both hurt. You have Tegan Knox, the shiniest wizard, who they've done absolutely nothing to get over.
I always forget about her.
Trish Stratus, who once again is locked in with Becky. You have Valhalla, who I don't think has wrestled since she's been back. You have Xia Li, who once again they've done nothing to get over.
Yeah.
Then you have Zoe Stark, who I think right now, if I look at this, that's your most credible person to wrestle Rhea Ripley. But I think once again, to do that correctly, you've got to give her time to build herself up. And I actually think they're doing that. But I think for the foreseeable future, for the next couple premium live events, who do they put in front of Rhea Ripley that you go credible?
Yeah.
There's a real shot. And that's the problem with WWE is the stories are not compelling when every time they put somebody in front of the champion and you go, well, there's zero, right? You put Natalya in the ring with Rhea Ripley, there's zero believability that Natalya is going to beat Rhea Ripley for a title.
True.
So, I mean, I don't know. What do you do? How do you build decent contenders for Rhea Ripley? What do the next 6 months look like for Rhea Ripley? If you're pulling 6 names off this list, Natalya's one first, right?
Now, do they have to not be injured right now?
Yeah, because I'm talking about legitimately the next 6 months, right?
Tegan Knox.
Okay, you think that's believable? Most people still don't know who she is. Candice LeRae. I think that once Becky and Trish are done, Becky becomes a very viable situation for Rhea Ripley will be fun.
Bring Nikki Cross back, and that could be her wrestling debut.
Wait, Nikki Cross is back.
I mean, not Nikki Cross. Valhalla.
Yeah, I guess.
I always get them mixed up.
I don't think she had that much credibility when she was before Valhalla. So I don't know that being Valhalla, I don't know. I
just think because she's a bigger girl, so.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't. 6 months for Becky, Indy Hartwell.
Okay, so.
At some point when she's better, Zoe Stark.
Who from WWE do you think, not just on Raw?
Just in general?
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem, right? That is the whole problem with their women's division is that they've only allowed 4 people to look credible. That's Bayley, Becky, Charlotte, Rhea, and Bianca. When those 5 wrestle each other, you believe something can happen. Outside of that, they've done a piss poor job of letting any of these people build any kind of momentum so that they have credible contenders moving forward.
Yeah.
All right, Lauren, it's time again for the most electrifying segment in podcast history. Welcome to Name This Tag Team. Each week I present 2 random WWE superstars and it's up to the amazing listeners to come up with creative and unforgettable names for the tag teams. Submit your suggestions on our Discord channel, Name This Team, and tune in the following episode to see if we reveal your team name as the winning team. I've actually recorded a couple of the matches. It's been a busy fucking week. Haven't had time to edit them and put them up for this segment, but I do have them recorded.
Okay.
And we do have current casual wrestling
All right.
tag team champions. But Lauren, these are the top 5 best tag team names I saw this week in the Discord. Once again, you get to make the final call on who wins. Now I've gone into the Discord and informed them.
Who's making the decision?
I've informed them. This segment is not what you think it is. This is not about being clever. The cleverness doesn't help. If you get real deep into wrestling lore, you're working the opposite direction. What we need here is the most third grade answer we can possibly find that will make you laugh and make you.
Why does that to be a third grade answer?
Because
I just need a banger after
that's
banger.
Where your sense of humor is in third grade. Yeah. Okay, so this week was Braun Strowman.
Okay.
And your favorite Bronson Reed.
Bronson Reed.
Okay.
Yeah.
First name here.
Okay.
The Thick with 2 C's Monsters. The Thick Monsters. Okay. Second, I found Brawny Tsunami.
Okay.
Pretty good. Monster Man Tits. See, they started to get it. They started to get it. All brawn, no brains.
Okay.
Get it?
That's
Bronson,
a smart
brawn
answer.
It's a very smart answer. And the last one is the brawny quicker picker uppers.
Oh, I love brawny paper towels. I love bounty paper towels. Oh, I want to go with titties. I really want to go with titties. But I really love the quicker picker upper.
So okay,
bounty.
let's talk. You just see no suspense. You got to learn to work the angle.
I can't help it.
We should eliminate before we.
Okay, we're gonna eliminate.
You already
thick
said
monsters. But when I thought of thick monsters, I thought of something else. Then when I went to the brawny tsunami, that was way over my head. I'm not gonna lie, a little too complicated there.
Well, so see once
all
again.
Brain,
hold on.
What?
Brawny tsunami, very clever. Bronson Reed's finishing move
is the tsunami.
I believe.
Yes.
So
and Brawny like Brawny.
Well, Brawny is like brawn. They're both BRAUN and BRON.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right,
I got that one. It was way too smart. Okay. Too much thought in it.
So you're
Monster Man Tits, they had me at tits.
Okay.
Okay. Monster and then Man Tits because the other guy has Man Tits.
Uh-huh.
My favorite person.
Okay.
All brawn. No brains.
Uh-huh.
Pretty smart.
Uh-huh.
Now, if I was going for smart, I probably would go for that one.
Okay. But because you have
I bought some bounty paper towels and I love them.
See, because you have the sense of humor of a third grader, you're picking the brawny quicker picker uppers.
I know I picked a more sophisticated answer this time.
I don't even know if I can put that many fucking characters in WWE 2K23. So this week's winner comes from Oshido Bonds, and it is the brawny quicker picker uppers. Next week's team will be Bad Bunny and Brock Lesnar.
Oh, that could be a good one.
The team of Bad Bunny and Brock Lesnar.
I got like 7 in my mind right now.
All right, Lauren, let's get into questions from the news. Okay, so the headline to this article is AEW and Warner Brothers Discovery set to announce a new TV deal next week. Warner Brothers Discovery is expected to announce a new TV deal with All Elite Wrestling on May 17th. This new deal is rumored to include a new weekly 2-hour show, AEW Collision. How do you think this new TV deal might impact AEW's visibility and growth? Also, how would the addition of a new weekly show like AEW Collision contribute to AEW's programming and fan engagement? Honestly, it's more wrestling I'm not going to watch, but I just feel like Tony Khan wants to be WWE so bad that he is going to just degenerate every good thing he's done up until this point. I'm not positive they have enough compelling stories to tell to fill just Dynamite, right? Mm-hmm. Then they had Rampage, but they couldn't do anything with Rampage. So their answer to that is, hey, if we can't make 1 hour work, let's just start a whole new 2-hour show. Now, CM Punk will give that a little bit of a boost, but if it just becomes the CM Punk show, how fun is that really going to be? So it'll be interesting. I think it's cool that we're getting a new TV deal. I heard rumors that it might be under the same model as WWE, which I do believe AEW suffers, right? I think I would watch more AEW pay-per-views if they fell under a subscription model. If I could buy, if for $9 a month I got Discovery, Warner Brothers content, plus AEW pay-per-views, I'm probably buying into that. What is Discovery? Discovery that's not Disney, is it?
No, it's like Discovery, TLC, and something else.
So what is Disney as National Geographic?
Yes.
So I know they have one of them. Okay, so Discovery, Warner Brothers. Interesting. I mean, I'm not that excited about it. I don't know that I was just, I don't know. I guess AEW fans and IWC are asking for more AEW.
True,
but I
mean, they're excited for it.
I think they've got to tighten up the programming they have right now before you just start throwing out new shows. Damian Priest has reportedly reached top level stature after his match at Backlash. So Damian Priest, who was reportedly gained top level status after his recent match at Backlash, in a match he faced off against Grammy Award winning artist Bad Bunny in a San Juan street fight, a bout that lasted 25 minutes and involved interference from other wrestlers. Despite Priest's defeat, his performance has reportedly been praised internally in WWE, and he is now seen as a top level player going forward. With this new recognition, how do you think Damian Priest's character and storyline will develop in WWE? Do you think he's ready for a championship run? I think he's been ready. I think he was United States champion. Here's the problem. I went over earlier this list of guys who are waiting in line for 2 titles, because there's 2 titles and you have a lot of talent. So where does Damian Priest fit into that line?
3rd tier.
No, I mean, I'm good. Like, I like Damian Priest. I've always liked Damian Priest. I think there's a lot of interesting storytelling. Well, yeah, I mean,
I like him now, though. I told you the whole Bad Bunny stuff.
You have a tendency to start out disliking people. No, I'm serious. Like, you tend to start by they have to earn your like. You don't typically see character go, I like character. They have to earn by some weird means your fandom. Yes. And then you go, but I like him.
We'll see if one day I decide that I like Braun Breaker.
Yeah. I mean, does he deserve a world championship? Sure. But he's not like... Seth is obviously going to get the world heavyweight champion. Is the world heavyweight championship just going to bounce around like a fucking hot potato in its first year? Is everybody going to get to touch it? Or, by the time that they realize, oh shit, we got to do something with Damian, has he cooled back off?
True.
No, I mean, it was a great match. Hell of a match. I've seen funny memes that say like, hey, look, AEW, you can do a street fight without blood and without, Bad Bunny, he killed it, man. I was highly impressed with Bad Bunny. I think there's a level of respect you have to give to people like Logan Paul, Bad Bunny, Pat McAfee, who don't like. It's obvious, and I mean obvious that Bad Bunny doesn't even really need it. Bad Bunny is not there promoting anything.
No, it's because he wants to do it.
He's there because he wants to fucking wrestle. That's it. He's not promoting an album. He's not trying to sell something to people. He's out there because he's like, this is something I want to do. Same with Pat McAfee. Logan Paul, I guess you could say he's trying to sell Prime, but still, like these guys respect the sport and they come in and they put their all into it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So to wrap that up, I mean, sure, Damian Priest deserves a world title, but run it back to what I said, where right now Judgment Day could be the biggest thing in all of pro wrestling, but because of just stupid logistical decisions, they're still just kind of WWE is discussing another premium live event outside of the United States. Some fans and internet wrestling community members are upset. How do you feel about WWE's efforts to hold more events internationally? Do you believe it's a good strategy for expanding their global audience and providing unique experiences for fans worldwide? I mean, I don't care that people are upset. Everything doesn't need to be in the United States. In fact, watching it on television, I think some of the most fun events to watch are ones in a place where somebody hasn't had an event in a long time, because the crowd goes ape shit. And that energy, you want to talk about like, the thing about AEW, their crowd transcends through the television. Mm-hmm. And it makes it's kind of fucking infectious. And if these people are that excited, I got to be excited too, right? Same with like when they did it in Cardiff with Drew McIntyre. Yeah. You could feel it radiating. The
disappointment when he lost, man. Like,
exactly.
It was a true feeling.
Exactly. Same WrestleMania, no matter where it is, has that same feeling, right? And Puerto Rico had that same feeling. So I'm all for 100% premium live events traveling around. Like, fuck the United States. Like, we get enough wrestling. We get our fair share of wrestling. We talk about
when we go to events here in San Antonio, like, I feel like the crowd is so boring. But if we go to Austin, it's a little bit more energetic.
A little bit better, but like
it's still not like on the level that I see on TV with other places.
There are smart crowds and there are dumb crowds. There are crowds who are entitled crowds who just think wrestling should come. Mm-hmm. Then you see crowds like Cardiff, crowds like Puerto Rico, who when they get that event, there's an appreciation shown. Even Saudi Arabia, right? They go nuts for those events.
Yeah.
Okay, this one, I gotta be careful on this one because I tend to get a little like worked up. Soraya Page eviscerates body shaming trolls on the internet. Says they smell like earringbacks and Fritos.
Gross.
Okay, so Soraya, currently one of the mainstays of All Elite Wrestling, is regularly featured as a top heel on AEW Dynamite. She took to Twitter to address body shaming issues. Apparently, she's being bullied on the internet.
For what?
I'll get to it. In her response, she targeted a small section of the internet wrestling community, the IWC, who make it their life's purpose to insult her looks and body. Don't think anybody's doing that, but hold on. Saying that they smell like earringbacks and Fritos and they have body sores from sitting on their asses all day. So hold on, question here. What are your thoughts on Soraya's response to body shaming? Do you think it's important for public figures to address these types of comments or should they ignore them? Okay, what question did you have?
Okay, so my first fucking idea is, what the hell does an earringback smell like? And if it smells, why did you smell it in the first place?
That is gross.
Okay, number two, some people really fucking love Fritos and they love the smell of Fritos.
Agreed.
Okay?
So two things that I would agree with you heavily on. Here, so let's talk for a minute. Apparently, it's come out that she has some body dysformation where things grow in places they shouldn't grow, like extra skin. I don't know. It's weird. And it's real. It's real. It's legitimate. It's a legitimate thing. Okay. I don't know how that pertains to this, but it's going to stay with me because I'm going to get to where I'm going.
Okay.
I have been very critical of Soraya. From a standpoint of she says a lot of crazy things. Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever this thing you have going on, it doesn't affect your brain. It doesn't affect your ability to make smart decisions and say things. And my problem with Soraya is she tends to kind of spout off at the fucking mouth and then back it off and play victim at the end of the thing, right? So she came into AEW, talked shit about Vince McMahon. Then I see a couple weeks later, she's like, really wish I wouldn't have said that. They were so good to me. No. You knew what you were doing and what reaction you were trying to get when you went out in that ring and said what you said. You can't walk it back a couple weeks. You can't have it both ways. Here's problem number 2, okay? The internet is the fucking internet. It's undefeated in being a complete dickhead. That's what the internet is. Yeah. If you cannot handle that, I get fucking called bald, fat, all these things over and over on the internet. And you have to at some point go, I don't fucking care what anybody says, right? Most of those people are unhappy with themselves, whatever the reason, but you can't, if you cannot handle that stuff, you've got to remove yourself from the internet. You know what the worst thing you can do is?
Fire back.
Start fighting back. And then how can you cry about it and scream body shaming when your answer is to tell them they have body sores from sitting on their asses all day?
What if they have a problem
that is the same exact thing. You are no better than they are. And that has been my problem with Soraya the entire time is, look, talk your shit. I'm all for it.
We'll back it up.
Don't run and fucking cry though when people come back at you and they're aggressive in their approach of talking back to you. Yeah. Here's my problem, Soraya, right? You want to talk shit about guys and go, oh, they're neck beards. They smell like Fritos. They have body sores. Hey, you fucking almost married Alberto Del Rio. Okay? Like we've seen what that dude looks like. We've seen what that dude's personality is. Like, you don't have this great track, and that's fine. We all fuck up. We all make mistakes. But stop engaging. Stop entertaining. And then stop running and saying they're bullying me. They're picking on me. I have these problems. There's these, right? Bitch, I'm addicted to food. It's why I'm fat. Like, you know, but I don't take offense when someone says it. I just go, yeah, I like to fucking eat. Yeah. So this is one of those things that irritates me because she acts like it's exclusive to her, right? Like as somebody, anytime you put yourself into public eye, right? Yeah. And you are a little bit controversial, right? Me, if I say things people don't like, they tend to get upset and their first attack is personal. And I laugh. Yeah, I laugh. TikTok it's a horrible fucking place. Yeah, but you just laugh. You cannot. If body shaming bothers you, professional wrestling probably isn't what you should be doing.
Yeah,
and I get it, right?
Triggers you for certain things, then you need to make that decision for yourself to say, hey, maybe this isn't the healthiest thing for me, and move on.
Exactly. And I get it, right? In this perfect utopia, nobody would ever say anything mean. But also, you wouldn't respond back by calling people the back of earrings and Fritos and telling them they have body sores from sitting on their asses all day. Like, it's no better. Wow, let's move on.
Okay,
I'm gonna keep on.
okay.
Say, like, someone said it in the Discord, and I fucking immediately kind of triggered and snapped and started was like, fuck that bitch. And then,
Fuck that
I think everybody just got quiet. There was no answers. I was like, man, I forgot. I can't just like,
That's okay.
Can't 100% go in on what I feel. Okay, so last story here. Charlotte Flair was frustrated with WWE over WrestleMania main event snubs. Charlotte was reportedly frustrated with WWE over not being featured in the main event of WrestleMania 39. According to the article, Flair expressed her frustration during an interview with Ryan Satin on the Out of Character podcast. The SmackDown Women's title match between Flair and Rhea Ripley was a high-profile match at WrestleMania 39, but it did not receive the main event slot. Instead, the main event went to the Undisputed Tag Team Championship match. Okay. Question is, do you think the SmackDown Women's title match between Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley should have been the main event at WrestleMania 39? If so, why? If not, what match do you deserve? Well, fuck it, whatever.
Yeah.
Stupid question. Fucking ChatGPT makes these questions.
Right.
Do I think it should have been the main event? No. But do I think it matters? No. Do I think it's kind of stupid that we call the last match Saturday night the main event? Yes. There's only one main event of WrestleMania. And that is the match that closes out the entire weekend of wrestling. Other than that, you could call it whatever you want. Look what they did in Puerto Rico. They called like the middle match of the night the co-main event. So like, you know what I mean? Like, fuck it. Just say that you co-main evented WrestleMania. Like, what
does it really matter?
It shouldn't. And I get why it does. So this is not, I do not want this to look like I am going in on Charlotte Flair, because I'm not. Because if you rank matches of the weekend, that was the best match all weekend by far. We're talking about just pure fucking wrestling and putting it all out there. Like, they were determined. Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair were determined to have the match of the night. It was probably because of this, because they were like, oh, they don't want to put us last? Let's show them why.
Yeah.
And they did it. I mean, they did it. And so to me, it's easy to say, right? Because I'm not in the profession, but I get there's a personal
like pride thing.
Yeah. In having the last match. But the reality is, like, we all know that was the match. That was the match of the night. That was the biggest match of Saturday night. Probably the best match all weekend. But that was it.
So question, like side note. So do you feel like, let's say that match was so amazing, right? I feel like when you're not the last one and you give them that amazing performance and then somebody goes after you and they're not as good, in my opinion, it almost makes that one before that much better.
Yeah. I mean, I can 100% agree with that. I also think that the problem is, once again, the bloodline storyline is what fuels WWE right now.
Yeah.
So there was almost zero chance, no matter how great the buildup was for Charlotte Flair, that Roman wasn't going to be last of the weekend and that the Usos weren't going to be last on Saturday night. Just the story dictated that.
Yeah.
The level of like importance of the Usos finally losing the tag team championship, the finish of that match, that was the reason that match had to go last. There's no doubt in my mind, Charlotte and Rhea Ripley, best match of Saturday night, possibly best match all weekend. And if you need to call it main event, that was the main event of Saturday night. All right, Lauren, we're finishing off here. You have, do you want your title for this?
Yes.
It's time for Wrestling 10 Questions. You last week did win the title, so you are currently the 10 Questions champion. So I get an opportunity it's champions rematch here, win it back after just 1 week. Tell me when you're ready and we can get this thing going.
I'm ready, sir. Let's go.
So you've got it called up here. So I haven't been put on the spot in a while. I'm a little rusty here. And I was like you all week. I had planned to game plan for this, and then I had no time to prep, and I didn't. So okay, let's start with: is this a male superstar?
Yes.
Okay, that's one. Is this person a current champion?
No.
Okay. Is this person on Monday Night Raw?
Yes.
Has this person been a champion in the last year?
Let me look that one up because I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. That's interesting because it seems like something you would know.
I don't think so, but some of the little belts.
Some of the little belts. Well, we can narrow it down.
Okay.
By champion, I mean...
No, not like a Roman Reigns or something.
No, it'd have to be... I'm saying Intercontinental United States.
No.
Okay, no? So
No.
It's not 24/7.
No.
Not a tag team champion?
Ooh, I guess I should have looked that one up. I'm not very good at this game. We'll go with ask me a different question.
That's not fair. That should count for disqualification and an immediate return of the title to the true champion.
Okay. So was he a
tag team champion in the last year? Well, in the last year, hell, he can't be because the Usos have had him.
No.
Okay. So far I've got it's a male superstar on Monday Night Raw, not a champion.
Okay. No, not a current champion.
Would you consider this person to be a bigger wrestler?
Like in size?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's 4. Okay, okay. Was this person on SmackDown before the draft? Did this person get drafted to Raw in the draft?
I think so, but
come on, man. You should just answer it, and then if you're wrong, we'll take disqualification. I'll take the title back.
I'm gonna go. I don't fucking remember because they switch back and forth all the time.
But I mean, they're on an official roster right now.
Yes, they're on official roster right now. They're on the Raw roster now.
But were they on SmackDown before?
I don't think so.
Well,
no, I don't think so.
Okay, you're saying I don't think so.
No.
Okay. So you think they've been Raw?
Yeah.
Bigger wrestler on Raw. Are they white?
No.
Black?
No, they're not black. I found that
out. Puerto Rican.
Yes.
Damian Priest.
Yes.
Give me that belt back. Give me that belt back. No, they've been Raw.
Yeah, I
They've
thought
been Monday Night
so.
Raw.
But I remember them going back and forth to go with all of the Dominic Mysterio
yes,
stuff.
Yes, they definitely.
That threw me off a little bit, and I was like, I'm not sure.
You gave it away with. You shouldn't have said. I just found that out.
I know.
Because I immediately knew exactly what you're talking about.
I knew you knew at that point.
I wasn't on that path.
Yeah.
And I almost, because we were talking about him, almost would have tried to stray away from that.
No, I didn't know you were going to talk about him, so.
1 week, Lauren. 1 week.
No, I have to go through all of that again.
And the belt comes home.
Yeah.
The belt's back.
Yeah, it's back on.
But that is all I got for you guys this week. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure to check out the Discord to meet other cool wrestling fans and casual fans. Make sure to check out some of the other content on the channel. Once again, we're doing a little bit of restructuring. I know it feels like that's all I do. I'm a fucking tinkerer.
You tinky.
I cannot stick to, and it's just because I see imperfections in what I'm doing, and then I go, I can make that better. But lately, I've been trying to stick to a 4-week rule. I do something 4 weeks,
and then move on,
and then try to not touch it and refine it until the 4 weeks is over. What we're doing is we're combining some of those little shows into 2 podcasts.
Yeah.
So we'll have, I believe we're doing a casual community podcast and the Nerdy D podcast and the casual community game show. Mm-hmm. And the game show is going to be fun.
Yes, sir.
So make sure to sign up for the casual community Discord. And if you're part of the Wrestling Fantasy League, I am going to be talking to Snuggles to help me out because that has become
a thing in its own.
Oh my God.
Are they correcting you? No, this person won.
No, Snuggles is the one who corrects me, but he's on top of it, and I get it. So if he's on top of it, he offered to help me out, which I fucking appreciate so much. So I'm gonna sit down with him and get it straightened out to where we can actually like, I want that to mean something. And it always is the thing that gets kind of,
I see how much work you put into everything else.
I'll fix it next week. Yeah. And it's just, I want to do a weekly show where we talk about like who's playing who. I just haven't been able to get to that. So hopefully he can help me out. We can figure out how to get that out.
Yes, sir.
But other than that, that's all we got tonight. Lauren, you can ring the final bell.
Ding, 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 ding.